Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the webinar. EnPro Learning System presents Frontline employees discuss their views and experiences about how they built their world-class safety system at EnPro Industries. We formed EnPro Learning System in 2014 after other companies showed a high level of interest in implementing our system. Our team of EHS professionals and safety coaches provide a wide breadth of services. We can assist with the implementation of our entire system within a business, focus on specific elements of the system, and efficiently move an organization forward on the journey to zero injury. EnPro Learning System can customize applications for your business, whatever the safety challenge or state of your organizational development. We provide on-site safety training courses, safety leadership development, mini safety summits, and safety gap analysis, as well as implementing behavior-based safety. The EnPro Learning System depends on a core belief that all injuries can be prevented. That may seem like an impossible goal, but over 60 EnPro Industries locations in 12 countries maintain performance year over year. It is achieved through dedicated effort at all levels of the organization. The elements of the EnPro Learning System safety system empower and educate all members of our organization. Our colleagues affect true change in their working environments. They refuse to accept that traditional processes cannot be done safely and have tirelessly to build a system that works. This safety system is implemented through our global operations and tested in diverse cultural settings. EnPro Industries has been recognized 3 times as one of America's safest companies by EHS. As a result of this recognition, we have been sought out by other companies to assist in the development of safety culture. Because our business leaders recognize living safely means we must be willing to share our system, EnPro Learning System now provides safety consulting services to others. Here is a brief timeline of today's webinar. Between now and 2:05, I will briefly go over introductions. I will then turn you over to Joe Wheatley, Vice President of EnPro Learning Systems, from 2:05 to 2:20. From 2:20 to 2:55, you will hear from our employee panel from Technetics Columbia and GPT Denver. To close our webinar, you will hear about our 2017 upcoming events. Throughout the entire course of the webinar, please submit questions for our employee panel discussion. I would like to introduce you to those participating in the webinar today. Joe Wheatley, Vice President of EnPro System, will give you an introduction to EnPro and our unique approach to safety. Joe is a regular keynote speaker at safety events, including the National Safety Council in 2014, the Manufacturers Alliance, and other trade organizations, as well as a past advisor on the Liberty Mutual Loss Control Advisory Board, and currently on the Wells Fargo Insurance Client Advisory Council. He has published articles on safety organizational change and safety culture in prominent publications. Joe received a BS in Chemical Engineering from Florida State University, a MS in Environmental Management from Florida Institute of Technology, an Executive MBA from Queen's University, and is a licensed professional engineer. Technetics Group, the host of our upcoming April Safety Summit, will be a part of our employee panel discussion. Please welcome Derek Glover, Mike, Cass Williams, Grace Kemp, Chris Middleton, Nancy Umansor, and Joshua D'Angelo. GPT Denver, the host of our October Safety Summit, will participate in the employee panel discussion as well. Please join me in welcoming Chris Groves, Cassie Roberts, Patrick Robertson, Marty Angel, Jessica Aranlano, Cecilia Gomez, and Jacqueline Monahan. Join us for this unique opportunity to hear from our frontline employees, as they are the leading experts in this webinar. They will discuss their impact of building, supporting, and implementing their safety culture at their workplace. This webinar will give you the only unscripted access to hear the viewpoints and experiences from the front lines. Your employees are the ones driving your safety culture, so now listen and learn from the experiences of America's safest employees. I will now turn you over to Joe Wheatley, speaker in today's webinar.
Thank you, Maria. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited about the webinar today. This is the first webinar that I'm aware of that was designed to give you access to the front line where safety culture really lives. We're not sure exactly how this will work because it's about conveying how people interact with each other. Basically, what does safety culture look like or sound like? The webinar is designed to give you an opportunity to ask the questions as Maria stated. First, who is EnPro Learning System? EnPro Learning System has proven to lead organizations to world-class safety performance. We are a product of EnPro Industry Safety System, which was developed and tested and implemented by our colleagues in our own global manufacturing operations. The system, and more importantly, the approach, has led our corporation to be named one of America's safest companies for the third time. EnPro Industries manufactures highly engineered products used in critical applications across diverse markets. We bend, twist, grind, and melt metal or plastic across the globe. We'd be considered a medium to heavy-duty manufacturer. These processes pose significant potential risks to our colleagues. Each and every day, our colleagues operate sophisticated machinery, handle heavy and bulky materials, work with chemicals, and deal with an ever-changing workplace. In this environment, safety awareness and practice is paramount, and that behavior and culture was critical because we could not write or establish enough procedures to get to perfection or an injury-free workplace. Early in our journey to safety excellence, we recognized that a safety system built solely on policies and procedures could never fully protect our workforce. While policies and procedures are necessary and essential component to our safety system, the complexity of our operations requires each and every employee to develop a personal, ethical commitment to working safely, a commitment that goes above and beyond compliance. So you'll see an acquisition slide up. EnPro safety professionals were charged with developing a system that not only works in many different countries and cultures, but that could also be reliably deployed in businesses the company acquires. Over the past 10 years, EnPro has acquired over 35 businesses. They have come to us with a wide range of safety performance and cultural development. To be effective in these situations, our safety system must be easy to repeat and execute. The proof of this is in the fact that these facilities have reduced medical treatment injuries rates by an average of 75% within 2 years of EnPro's ownership, and the level of engagement in safety, quality, and productivity has improved vastly. The same approach has proven to be just as effective with the companies outside of EnPro that we've helped. So let's talk about the approach slide. EnPro Industry believes that the establishment of each employee's personal safety ethic is an area of development typically overlooked by organizations today. Often organizations look at the tactics or particular activity or practice to implement. At EnPro Learning System, we advocate the need to understand the architecture and infrastructure as what we call our approach to create an environment in a deliberate fashion to allow transformation of culture. Safety culture for you, by you. Our approach relies on 4 different and unique perspectives shown below, which we believe create a full understanding of what is necessary to build a sustainable safety culture. So let's look at the upper left quadrant. Personal development, as described in the upper left quadrant, is primarily avoided in businesses today because it requires interaction of a personal nature. The standard focus of most organizations is on compliance through safety policies, procedures, and programs that represent the body of traditional safety programs. You shall wear steel-toed shoes. You shall wear safety glasses. You shall wear high visible vests. These are our typical rules. This is the bottom right of the quadrant. At EnPro, we've learned that without a strong focus on the internal feelings and values of every individual, the culture and system is not complete and a zero-injury workplace is likely out of reach. Through Safety My Voice, or Building Our Workplace, which we call BOW, our tools are created. We actively devote time to develop each employee of an internal belief in safety. By sharing personal stories and experiences, we create the foundation of our behavior-based safety program and our culture of caring. So let's look at the upper right quadrant, the external behavior. A culture of zero injury must rely on people making the right, safe decision 100% of the time. We believe behavior plays a role in almost every incident. At times, leaders may encourage unsafe behaviors by stressing production over safety, or perhaps simply failing to discuss safety with those whom they work with. At other times, a colleague may decide to take a shortcut, even when the individual knows there's a safer way to perform the task. Decisions such as these can have a significant impact on an organization's safety culture. Safety First, EnPro's behavior-based safety program, goes beyond general awareness of behaviors that cause unsafe situations. It seeks to educate every employee on the business's current safety challenge and to implement a focused, customizable series of triggers to influence the daily habits of the workforce. EnPro's behavior-based safety program encourages the full participation and enrollment of the workforce by encouraging employees to design their own safety triggers. Safety First uses B.F. Skinner's research of applied behavioral science principles and the theory as a part of its own foundation, while adding more progressive behavior-based training approach. While Safety First is designed to encourage excellent behaviors and habits, it does so while promoting the character and values of leadership needed to sustain safety excellence. Safety First plays an important role in defining safety excellence as a habit of action that shapes safety leadership and safety culture. So let's move to the lower left quadrant. So going across, people will help support what they help create. The key to the success of safety culture within EnPro Industries and other companies with whom EnPro Learning System is partnered with is the engagement of the entire organization and the integration of all four quadrants in the model. When every employee has a say, not only in what the system looks like, but also in the development and strategy of the individual components of the system, safety becomes a personal endeavor. Each organization needs to create a system unique to itself. EnPro Learning System guides organizations through the creation of their own unique system by establishing high-performance safety action teams. These teams allow employees to get involved and have an immediate impact on their workplace, building upon existing cultures and systems by using and/or improving documents, tools, and communication. The system also creates practically limitless opportunities for personal development for those involved in the teams. So now the bottom right-hand quadrant, the lower right, system or compliance. You see on the screen our safety leadership progression chart. Most organizations progress safety through rules or procedures. As mentioned, compliance by itself is not enough to actually transform a collective or organization. However, as you can see on the chart, we recognize that self-inspection or your individual leadership is important. As a leader, you are a compliance-driven leader. As a leader, you may be a compliance-driven leader, basically driven by corporate rules or regulations, or you could be a supporter level that fundamentally agrees with safety but is not visible, not necessarily out front. Or you can be a champion level that is out front, demonstrating your leadership on safety and caring for others. And then the last level, we understand that there's another level which we call visionary leadership. That requires an understanding that being a champion is not enough, that a visionary requires servant leadership to provide an environment or infrastructure that allows others to champion the workplace. At EnPro and our customers, we conduct Safety 360 leadership process to allow each leader, their subordinates, peers, and managers to provide feedback to develop their leadership. Okay, so this last slide here, which is our performance, It's a macro level. Often businesses, organizations talk about the balance between profit and safety. If you look at the chart that compares profit and safety improvement, we are an example, and our customers, that investment in safety contributes to profitability. We were single-digit stock years ago, and now we're an order of magnitude higher valued stock, along with most of the EnPro businesses being injury-free year after year. At EnPro, we like to talk about being more profitable through safety, not one or the other. We spend more time on safety, we become more profitable as we truly invest in our people. So now, if you will take a moment, because we have the survey up, right? Take a moment and evaluate your own safety leadership before we move on. Okay, so just looking at the results real time here, it looks like we have, it's moving around, but a bulk of the results look like they're in that champion level. We have about 15% in compliance and 21% in supporter, and then about a quarter in the visionary leadership. So I'll give you another second here, and then I'll move on. But it's not, as you're selecting your level, this process of evaluating yourself, how you see yourself as a safety leader and how others see you, is an important process. And so we do this regularly through our Safety 360 process. Okay, so I think it's time to move on to what you're really here to hear about, and that's from the panel. So that was a little bit about EnPro Learning System, our approach, tools, and practices. So now let's hear from the colleagues that created this safety culture.
And I'm going to ask you to continue submitting questions all throughout the employee panel discussion. But I'm going to start with Technetics Columbia. This question comes from Scott. Columbia, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in implementing your safety culture?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for us is we're kind of, as far as tenure here, we're kind of all up and down. So we've got a safety culture to begin with that us old timers, my name is Mike, by the way, that we did things a certain way, and so period of time we got better and better and better until it just became part of our culture.
And as a new person, I mean, when you come in here, it's very different than most manufacturing settings. I think we do a good job of training as soon as you come in the door on, this is how we are, this is how we operate. If you're part of our family, you will have a safety conscious. And then, as soon as you start, probably in the first 2 weeks, you will have an incident where you've forgotten to put your safety glasses on or steel toes on, and somebody will stop you. So, with people that have been doing this for a long time, the newcomers that come in pretty much get brought up to speed pretty quick. But it is different at first because you're not used to that, but it doesn't take too long to get into it.
Great. And Columbia, just next time, can you speak a little bit closer to the mic so everyone can hear you on the phone line?
Sure.
Okay, great. Denver, next question is for you, coming from Julie. How did leadership affect your efforts to drive safety amongst your peers?
So hi, I'm Patrick Roberts. It's very important that leadership just shows that they are committed and behind all of the safety initiatives. We have things such as safety cards where employees report incidents that were either unsafe or an unsafe action or something like that, and all of those are reviewed at the leadership level, and leadership is involved with all of the safety stuff. And it is just fundamental that leadership supports and really shows that they're committed to to the safety programs and the processes thereof.
Columbia, question coming in from Peter. How do you drive sustainable safety processes?
All right, well, this is Joshua Daniello speaking. One thing that Technetics Group Columbia does, which is great, is we've got a lot of signage around the facility, and definitely have to thank Derek Glover for what he does, but we see all these signs up as far as, don't feel the steel, don't feel stiff when you lift, so it's constant reminders that maybe you step out on break, you take your gloves off or something, you come back, because you were walking through the facility and you see all this signage, it's almost subliminal messages, so you know not to feel the steel, to put your gloves back on, make sure you got your safety glasses on and things as such. So it's a great reminder, and it keeps us really driven as far as safety awareness.
Also, you'll have each employee, if somebody's running around and they forgot the safety glasses, somebody's going to tell them. They're going to say, hey, how about it? We want you to go home just like you came here. We want you to go home safe. So it's pretty much up. I mean, it's pretty much channeled all day long here.
Okay, Bobby, this question is from Bobby, Denver. This question's for you. We understand that implementing safety culture initiatives requires buy-in from top-level leaders. How do you create an environment for leaders to buy in?
Patrick again. I feel like it's very easy for leadership to buy in here. It's a noble goal, just having people go home the same way that they come in. My leadership has always been very supportive as far as if it's safety and it's a legitimate issue. Money is not an object. We can handle whatever it is as long as it's going to keep somebody from being harmed. And if the process is going to be so expensive to fix that it's not practical, then the process is most likely going to be changed and go away. I feel like as a manager, I feel like I am supported by the company to just do whatever it takes to make sure that the environment is safe. And the message to me is always that if it's a safety issue, then we will do what needs to be done to resolve that safety issue.
As an employee on the shop floor, also, my name is Jessica. I'm sorry. As an employee on the shop floor, I can back what Patrick just explained, and whenever we do fill out one of our safety opportunity cards, if we're not sure how to fix it, we always have the people above us be able to, our team leaders, to help us correct it if we're not sure. And they give us big time support on all of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Columbia, I have a question that came in from Greg. What type of resistance or obstacles did your organization experience during the process of improving your safety culture?
Hi, my name is Cass Williams. It's really just weeding out the people that don't want to buy into our safety culture. Because I mean, if you with the safety culture, you'll find it being comfortable here. If you're not, you'll pretty much find your way out the door, and you're not feeling too comfortable around the people here. We try to be respectful when we talk to each other, and try to carry that flag with, respect and excellence. That's really just the base of it, what we try to do, and just for everybody.
And kind of to build off that, as an engineer, I know a lot of times when we try to bring new equipment in, it does take a little bit longer because we do have a lot of checks, and we always have to make sure that, what comes in the door is going to be safe for our operators to use, and that also usually means when they come in that we have to add on a few extra features. So there's a little bit of hurt there, but I mean, that little bit extra time is nothing compared to if there was actually an accident. We'd have to shut that machine down. But we do have a little bit of hurt, and things take a little bit longer, but in the end, it's worth it.
But the good thing about that is management supports us on everything we do. We have a tendency to bring safety to the forefront, which helps everybody.
Denver, I have a question from Catherine. How do you see leadership showing their support for safety on a day-to-day basis?
Hi, this is Jacqueline. So, especially with how close and how small our business is, a lot of the leadership is involved with the committee-based safeties, which gives us all an opportunity that are in leadership, kind of the opportunity to help support whatever that is needed. I also, me personally, I make my daily rounds to my team members and make sure that if there's anything that I can do to help support, they have anything for me that we can either get the equipment that they need, the supplies that they need, the just overall tools that they need to be successful and being safe, just make sure that we're there.
Thank you. Columbia, I have a question coming in from Christopher. When a process change is needed that requires spending a lot of money to fix, what do you do in the meantime before you get that money approved?
This is Chris Middleton.
Can you step closer to the mic, Chris? We can't hear you very well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of feedback on the mic.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's much better.
Okay, good. This is Chris Middleton. I'm one of the team leaders out here in TechNetics Columbia. One thing that I can say that we do take pride in Columbia, say we have a problem with the press where we're waiting for a new press to come in, we have no problem letting our customer know that we're not adequately enough or safe enough at the point to process their parts. So there's no one in the plant that would ever get in trouble, get looked down upon if they were doing something that they didn't feel safe doing, and their machinery wasn't the proper safe machine for them. They wouldn't get in trouble saying, hey, I can't run this right now. So we'd actually get our customer service guys, management to make some phone calls to whether it be the customer internally or externally, and let them know that, hey, we're having some process issues where we're not running as safely as we can be. So we'll have to put a kind of a slower date due for the job. So basically, like I say, just we would actually step aside from that job for as long as it took until we got the proper machinery in to make sure no one was doing anything unsafe, anything they weren't comfortable doing, or anything that would possibly lead to them getting injured. As well as my engineer just reminded me that there have been several occasions where a piece of machinery is down and we're able to look at outside vendors to maybe be able to run some of our needed material, a spring, whatever the case may be. So if it's going to be down too long, and we don't, we're definitely not about leaving our customers hanging, but we would definitely take a look at an outside vendor to possibly be able to run whatever the material is that we need so we can get back on track.
Thank you. Denver, I have a question coming in. Can you give any examples of what employees can coach others on safety?
Hi, this is Marty from Denver. Basically, in our department, I'm coaching my team every day. They'll come up to me with questions regarding like certain operations, and they're not sure, and so I'm not a lead, but I'll go in and I'll work with them myself, and if they have any doubts about something that's not safe, they always come to me, so I'll go in and I'll help them out just to get them on the right track. And I think it's just, in each department, everybody looks out for each other. Where, if something doesn't look right, somebody will say something, and, we'll stop the operation, review it. Instance, when I first started, I was running a machine, and it turned out to be unsafe, so we shut it down for 3 months and came up with an alternative to do my operation until we got it back on track again.
Okay, Columbia, I have a question from Jeff. How long did it take to transform the culture, your culture to world class? The biggest challenge for us is that 80% of our employees have been here for 20 to 40 years, and they don't like change.
Hello, this is Mike. I've been here 35 years, and I've seen it go from bad to fabulous. The culture was, when I first come here, is get the job done. We don't care how you do it. And through the years, it's changed. Our top management really helped with this. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of the old guys who say, I've done it this way for years. But you keep it up, you keep the safety in line, you keep the safety being brought forth to them, they're going to change their attitude pretty quickly. I'll say it took approximately, 3 years to get to where we're about at now. Actually, we just had our 10th year of our safety awards, so we're very proud of that. But once you get a culture started, it pretty much drives itself. If you feel like you're not part of this culture and you feel like you don't want to be safe, you're pretty much going to walk yourself out the door. People are going to be here to help you. They're going to be here to give you a hand. They're going to be here to tell you also what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So, and that's with respect. But I think it took approximately 3 years.
Hello, this is Cass. Cass, I believe that, as far as this company, since I've been here 8 years, I've seen a change tremendously from the 8 years I've been here. I've seen us move to another building. We transfer from one building to other buildings without any safety injuries. And really at that point, when we moved to a new building, it was like, hey, we gotta practice being safe. We gotta be on the forefront with our safety. And really, as far as being world class, we look at it as one day at a time being world class. We're never satisfied saying we're world class, and we're content with that. It's, if we win that day of nobody going home with no injuries, no cuts, no lacerations, stuff like that, we look at it as we've been world class for that day, and on to the next day as far as our challenges. So to say we're a world class safe facility, we don't consider that. We look at it as every day as improvement for us to try to be world class.
Everybody needs to work on it every day. You just can't say you're good one day and then not respect it the next day. It's an ongoing thing. We're learning every day, and we're willing to take up that challenge.
Okay. Denver, next question is coming in from Steve. When a hazard is identified, is the company's first choice to design the hazard out, the equipment task, or work around it using PPE?
So ideally, we eliminate the hazard. Ideally, if we can get rid of the process and we don't need to do it anymore in-house, not in that way, if we can find another way, we do it like that. Last result is always PPE. We really don't like putting protection in between people and hazards because that means they're still around the hazard. Ideally, the hazard is eliminated, another way is found. From there, we find a safer way to perform the process, and last case scenario, we protect ourselves from the hazard.
Okay. Columbia, I have a question for you from John. How many people are involved in your safety teams, and what do you think your biggest accomplishment has been?
Hey, this is Derek Glover. Well, we have approximately 100 people here at the facility. We have 87 people in safety teams. We're participating in a safety team. One of the big things that we've accomplished is the integration between each team, everybody helping each other out. My fire emergency team, they needed some help from the machine guarding team. They will go and ask for help, and the machine guarding team will help with no problems. So the participation within the groups is very great.
Denver, I have another question from John. How do you create space for your meetings and safety initiatives?
Yeah. Jessica, again, no matter what, if there's a safety issue, we stop whatever we're doing, and it is always communicated throughout the building. And we just handle it that way. I mean, if somebody gets hurt, there's a stand down. I mean, that's the bottom line. And we all are very supportive of each other. We also have several places where we do our safety meetings and all of that. So there's always a committee once a week. They have a meeting, and then there's a monthly committee meeting for the leads of the individual committee. If that answered your question, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Columbia, I have a question for you from David. For those that were non-believers in safety prior to EnPro, what exactly changed your mind to view safety as a value? Was it a moment, some inspiring words said, or something else that clicked in your head?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. We had an issue with the phone. Okay. This is Chris Middleton again. To answer your question, I'm relatively new as opposed to my guy sitting to my left, Mike, who's been here 30 years. Been here about 5 years. But there's actually a couple of instances that I can actually recall on when I understood exactly how the culture was here. One thing, when you first walk into our plant, you see our banners hanging up on the wall now 10 years in a row, with our safety award. And coming in 5 years ago, there were already 5 banners. And I took it as a personal goal then not to be the weak link. You don't want to come in somewhere where you have, this safety standard going on, and you come in and you're the person that messes it up. Speaking on that, a couple of weeks after I started, I was being trained. We had a different training policy back then. Again, some of the continuous improvements that have been going on have rectified this issue. But I was trained by someone who, didn't really know the ins and outs of safety. At that time, I cut myself. And the first thing I did is I walked up to a person and asked them, what to do about this cut. I had a small laceration. It was nothing serious. It just required minor first aid. the person that I actually went up to was our EHS supervisor at the time. And instead of, me getting written up or getting in trouble or getting fussed at, I was actually given a free lunch. The next week we had a plant-wide meeting, and I was, heralded and kind of given an award for coming forward after getting cut and not trying to hide it. That's a big difference than the type of manufacturing I was in before. When my previous job, they always talked about safety being so key, but if you got cut, they covered it up. They would bandage you up, let you get back on the floor. The next meeting we had, you never really heard anything about, the minor things that happened. They were very, proactive but not reactive. Here, at Technetics, it's been completely different. We do a lot of things to ensure that you don't get hurt in the first place, and if you do get hurt, they want to make sure that no one gets hurt behind you. So, like I said, after I received that injury, but then I was awarded for coming forth, it changed the whole training factors that we had, and you had to start wearing cut-resistant gloves, and I can honestly say that I don't think anyone has gotten cut being trained that way again. So that's, like I said, that's just a couple of things that let me know out of the gate that the safety culture here was very something taken seriously, and they were were really honestly care about people in here and want to make sure that you go home the same way you came in, and it's just contagious. It can't help but spread.
Thank you. Denver, I have a question from Scott. How do you incorporate your safety culture at home?
Hi, this is Jacqueline. So it's kind of funny, I think, how it works, because it's kind of a natural thing that happens. It's where you're walking in the grocery store and you see someone doing something unsafe that you would normally see at work, and you kind of think to yourself, they probably shouldn't be doing that, or like you think about the safety opportunity card program that we have, like, I wish I could fill out a blue card, and we actually do promote that outside of work and at home as well. It's just a habitual type of thing after you're set in, I think, with the culture for so long that it, like I said, it just becomes a habit where you naturally see these things happening all the time and you want to fix them.
We encourage people to bring in safety incidents from the house. Say somebody cuts themselves in a drawer at the house or something like that. We do require that they also think about a solution for any safety card that they're going to put in. And just on a personal level, it's hard to be so safety conscious at work and then not take that home. For instance, like mowing the lawn or messing with lawn tools or something like that. I always remember my safety glasses now. And I've always worked around dangerous stuff, and it always, had that in my life. But it seems like the culture, to me, has, as Jackie said, just made it kind of an unconscious thing where you feel like you feel the need to be safe all the time. You feel the need to have safety glasses on when you know there's going to be, wood chips flying around or something like that. I think a good thing about the culture is that it just does keep safety in your mind a lot more often than in normal life.
Thank you. Columbia, I have a question from Alexandra. What is the single most important thing that site management can do to drive towards a world-class safety culture? What metrics have been most effective, and how were those communicated?
This is Grace speaking. I think the biggest thing they can do is support and put it at the forefront. I mean, like we've talked about, we have safety teams, and I know my manager's in there. I think everybody's manager is in there. Their team lead, the PLLs, and a lot of, some of our managers actually lead the teams. So them being in those meetings and also holding us accountable, making sure we're in those meetings, that's the best way, because you know that they can't skip out of it. You know, they can't just say, hey, yeah, you need to be a part of safety and move on. They are there. They're doing the same thing you're doing. They're spending that same time in those meetings. And you know, if you say things not safety, you know, it's that you fear about doing something, they'll stop it too. You want to speak on it? And
yeah, this is Derek. So we have somewhat of a cadence. Everybody knows exactly when it comes to our metrics and our statistics that we know we have to do training hours, know we have to have a certain amount of safety training hours, know we have to have a certain amount of safety opportunities throughout the year, and know that we have to do safety improvements throughout the shop floor or throughout the whole building. So it's somewhat of a cadence. Everyone knows exactly what we're supposed to do, how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, we report on it just like we would with OI. It's just expected, like everything else in manufacturing, that we hit those targets. So we touch it as soon as we have our production meeting every morning, how many training hours we've had. And even I think the other day, it looked like we were a little behind. Everybody's like, well, did Derek update the hours? Because we need, we need to make sure we're on this. So it's on the forefront of everybody's mind.
And this is Josh speaking. And I would agree with Grace 100% because we've got morning meetings just in the department meetings. Safety is pushed. We've got the production meeting. Safety is pushed. We've got a weekly rope walk. Safety is pushed, and then we got our monthly plant meeting. And safety is pushed and recognized and even awarded as far as incentives. So it's something that has to be a mind change as far as keeping it on our head and just making sure that it's always kept driven.
Hey, Denver, question for you. What recommendations can you give to employers or safety managers to ensure that employees know what to do to keep safe, that is free from harm or injury?
I think definitely the first thing you can do is when you bring somebody new in, have it on your employee orientation or onboarding training. And then from that step on, then as always it comes from the leadership and trickles down. And then I would say after that probably just, kind of kind of give them a brief reminder, and then just with each employee, just let them know, hey, the ideas, the number one thing is to be safe, look out after your fellow colleague, and follow all the safety rules, PPE, such.
A huge part of it, I feel like, is true elimination of hazards. You can identify stuff all day. What really needs to happen is root cause problems need to be eliminated. As Marty said, you encourage looking out for each other, and elimination of hazards, I feel, are the main things.
You can encourage people to, when they come in as either a visitor or a new employee, whatever, have them, maybe you can encourage them to have a checklist in their head or on paper even until they're used to the custom of our culture. So that's another way that would help ensure that people are following the guidelines on that.
Okay, Columbia, I have a question from Steve. You mentioned earlier continuous improvement. What do you see your program looking like in 5 years?
Yeah, so with the continuous improvement, we're trying to get all our employees out of the line of fire. Any kind of operations that has the employee jeopardizing the employee being injured, we're trying to get them out of, like I said, the line of fire. Making sure, like with projectiles, with the punch press, making it more automated for the person or for the employee, for them just to press a button and let it run instead of being there physically.
For me, it's more of, ourselves as far as being 100% safe and being able to look out for each other without management or any kind of upper manager have any say-so. No offense, but just, they could stay home and we could still function as a facility by ourselves.
Denver, I'll turn the same question over to you. What do you see your program looking like in 5 years?
Well, this is Jackie. So previously we worked on a lot of continuous improvements more within departments. We recently came up with a continuous improvement team that it's just a wide variety of people throughout the shop, so everyone has a buy-in. Trying to explain to people in like our every Friday we have a meeting where everyone gets together and we try to explain to people that it doesn't always have to relate to just safety. It's continuous improvements no matter what it is, the topic, the tool, whatever it can be. So in 5 years, in the last couple months we've had a lot of buy-in. In 5 years I see just more improvements. I see our teams getting bigger. I see more people understanding the value of improving the things that we already have. Yeah.
Thanks, Jackie.
This is Cassie. One real quick thing to add to that. I think for me, what I am excited to see in 5 years is the ownership shifting. Columbia mentioned it a little bit as well, really being able to see everyone own it in their own way. And I think one of the beautiful things about the culture is that we don't really know what it's going to look like in 5 years. We just know it's going to be better. Just like we know, we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We just know we're going to be better. So I think that's one of the things that's most exciting about this program and the culture that we have, is that whatever it's going to look like, it's going to be, we're going to continue to be the best.
Thank you. Well, this is going to conclude our employee panel discussion. Any questions that we did not get to, we will be sure to answer via email after the conclusion of the webinar. Partnering with your company to help achieve your safety goals is our priority. Our team of professionals acts as an extension of your team in applying their extensive knowledge and expertise to your safety philosophy and program, resulting in a step change to safety performance. As you can see on the slide of our upcoming safety training events in 2017, we would invite you to attend one of these upcoming events. Our next one is on March 15th and 16th in Cleveland, Ohio, and this is our supervisor leadership training. This 2-day workshop will help prepare supervisors and mid-level leaders to focus on their individual habits, behaviors, and beliefs so they can continue to lead their organizations to new levels of safety success. We are offering this year for the first time a Safety First online course, which is a series of 4-hour training courses held once a month over a period of 4 months online. You will be trained on EnPro's behavior-based safety program and learn how to train employees on safe behaviors. We also invite you to attend our upcoming Safety Summit that will take place this year at Technetics Columbia on April 4th and 5th. This 2-day session is hosted by EnPro Industries, the only public traded company in the world to allow organizations access to all levels of our world-class safety system. I will now turn you back to Joe, as he would like to thank our participants of today's webinar.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you to the panel. We've done a number of trainings, and some people will come to a summit because they want to see a CEO of a public company talk about safety, or they want to go see a facility. But the thing that most people that come really value is hearing from people that work in an environment and what safety looks like, how they treat each other, is it for real? And so we decided to have this session, and hopefully it was valuable to you. But I really want to thank the panel because they're not professional actors. They aren't regular public speakers, and I think it's but they wanted to share how they feel about safety. And so I'm just really grateful for all the panel participants for being on today and sharing how they think about safety. None of it is obviously scripted, and it's just how they feel about it. And so come see them at our next summit. You'll hear from either them or other colleagues that they work with. So thank you again to the panel and for the people on the call. Thank you.